I'm going to introduce our candidates for Lieutenant Governor, and again, applause for now. First, on the left, we have Democratic candidate Kauai Mayor Bernard Carvalho Jr. He took office, you can stand, Bernard. He took office in 2008 to fulfill a partial term for the late Mayor Brian Baptiste. He's a Kauai native. He graduated from Kapa'a High School and from UH Manoa on a full-ride football scholarship with his degree in PR and communications, and he was drafted by the Miami Dolphins. He started working for the county in 1985 and served as Community Assistance Office Director and Department of Parks and Recreation Director. Mayor Carvalho is married to a nurse, Gina Godinez, and they have 3 children. Thank you, Mayor Carvalho. Please be seated. Next, we have Democratic State Senator Will Espero. His family is from the Philippines, and he was actually born at the U.S. Naval Base in Yokosuka, Japan. As a military kid, he grew up around the world. Senator Espero graduated from Seattle University with a degree in business management and has lived in Hawaii for 36 years. He worked in finance and banking, property management, and the administration of Frank Fosse. He's been in the state legislature for 19 years and is in his 5th term in the Senate, serving as Senate Majority Floor Leader and the chair of the Senate Housing Committee, and has 3 children. Thank you, Senator. Next, we have Democratic State Senator Josh Green. After completing his medical training, Senator Dr. Green came to the Big Island 17 years ago, working as a family physician and emergency room doctor in rural hospitals and clinics. Today, he still works in the emergency room at Kohala Hospital on weekends. From 2004 to 2008, he served in the Hawaii State House, and since 2008 has served in the State Senate as chair of the Health Committee and currently chair of the Human Services Committee. He's married to Jamie from Kaneohe, and they have a son and daughter. Thank you, Senator Dr. Green. Kim Coco Iwamoto began her career as a public interest attorney, coordinating free legal clinics and homeless shelters in community centers across the state. She has degrees from the Fashion Institute of Technology from San Francisco State and has a law degree from the University of New Mexico. She's been a family caregiver plus a certified therapeutic foster parent for formerly homeless or incarcerated teenagers. She was elected to the Hawaii Board of Education in 2006 and 2010, and in 2013, the Obama White House honored her as a champion of change for public education advocacy. Thank you. And now, and by the way, all 4 of those are Democrats. Now we have Republican candidate for Lieutenant Governor Jeremy Lowe, born and raised in Honolulu. His family has been in Hawaii for 4 generations, starting in the late 1800s. He has worked in all 3 branches of Hawaii state government, the University of Hawaii, and private nonprofits as a research analyst. While in government, he worked for the legal administration and several Republican state representatives. He was a Rotary Scholar at the National University of Singapore and has his master's from the University of Hawaii, an undergraduate degree from Claremont McKenna College, and is a graduate of Punahou School. Thank you so much. Now let's give them all a round of applause for serving and for being here. The constitutional duties of the Lieutenant Governor are to serve if the Governor cannot, plus there are some administrative duties such as marriage licenses and state IDs, overseeing the Office of Information Practices, and a few more. But generally these are, to some degree, clerical duties, and the Lieutenant Governor always hires a very competent staff to handle that. But generally, the Lieutenant Governor handles special assignments as agreed to by the Governor. So the Lieutenant Governor goes in, or most Lieutenant Governors go in with an idea of what he or she might want to accomplish. Starting with Bernard Carvalho, we'd like to know, if elected, tell us in 2 minutes what you will propose to the Governor as your key responsibility and what plans you have to accomplish it. Mayor Carvalho.
First of all, aloha. I just want to thank the Chamber for hosting this event tonight. And just returned from Washington, D.C., and it's important for us to really support our business community. And I was over at the Hawaii on the Hill event, which brought many different businesses to the Hill. The nation's capital was filled with aloha. And I was there, I chaired this event, co-chaired this event for 5 years, it's the 5th year. And it's important for us to continue to support our business community and of course our chambers throughout the state. And I want to thank the Chamber for that. There's also no secret that we both islands, Hawaii Island and Kauai, hit with major disasters. And we had our share of our disaster on Kauai, the highest amount of rainfall in 24-hour period, 49 inches of rain. And so we had to deal with that. And as a leader, as the mayor of the island, it's my responsibility to ensure that we're ready to ensure that we have the right people in the right place, to activate our emergency operating center, to ensure that we have all the information ready. I made the calls 3 o'clock in the morning when we first got that call back home on Kauai. And all the way till today, we're working with FEMA. We have a strong relationship with all branches of government. Our congressional team was ready at that time. You have to be ready, of course, with our military personnel, all of it. And today, we're not out of the woods yet. We still have one portion of our island that is somewhat accessible, only to our residents right now. But my point is, as Lieutenant Governor, I believe the responsibility to help support the governor, of course, but be responsible, have the experience and understanding to handle disasters and know what it takes to be ready and understand the needs of your team in the Emergency Operating Center, as well as now marketing Hawaii is very important. We need to stand strong and let people know we're ready for business. And we want them to still come. And we understand their needs. Mahalo and thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Carvalho. Mayor Carvalho, and just to remind you, we're going to hold all of our applause until we get to the very end of the forum. Mayor Carvalho, I want to give you a 1-minute follow-up. It sounds like your focus then, if you become Lieutenant Governor, would be on emergency preparedness and or tourism. So give us 1 minute more on how you plan to do that. 1 minute only. 1 minute only follow-up. Yes, sir.
So again, I just want to tell you how important this event that happened over on the Hill, because it offered the opportunity for all of our small businesses, and Kauai every single year had the most participation, I want to say that, but at the same time it has grown throughout the entire state. So tourism and being able to market our products and be able to do it at the nation's capital is a big part. Tourism, of course, is a big part of who we are as a state. There's many opportunities for tourists to come and visit us, but we have to be ready and willing to offer that opportunity, working closely with our chambers, working closely with our economic development office, and providing every single opportunity for our tourists to come to Hawaii and have that wonderful experience. And I believe with all the different opportunities and products that we have to share, that opens the door for that. As far as preparedness, as you all know, I have that experience in several different ways.
Thank you, Mayor Carvalho. Senator Espero, the question goes to you now. If you become elected Lieutenant Governor, what exactly, in 2 minutes, do you intend to propose to the governor that essentially your main job responsibility might be, in addition to the constitutional duties?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. And thank you for hosting us, Kona. I've been told while I'm out there campaigning, what does the Lieutenant Governor do? Because many people really don't see the Lieutenant Governor much. And one of my answers is I'm to be the most involved, active Lieutenant Governor the state of Hawaii has ever seen. I have 19 years in the legislature, and I want to continue working on the issues that I'm working on now, but at the executive level. For example, I was the chairman of the Housing Committee this year, and we appropriated $600 million for affordable housing, and as in the administration, I want to make certain that that money is spent properly, and we appropriated $50 million for homelessness, and I want to make certain that's also spent wisely. I was also the chairman of Public Safety, Intergovernmental, and Military Affairs Committee. In that committee, one of my bills was a spaceport license for the Kona Airport for next generation airplanes to have and begin space tourism. That'll be great for the Kona coast. We're hoping that we can get an FAA spaceport application license by next year, and that is an issue that the next administration is going to have to deal with. I also want to work with corrections. One of the biggest issues before us at the legislature, do we want to spend $600, $700 million on a new jail for Oahu? I say no. There are many ways to spend money on inmates and on rehabilitation, and that's an issue that's very near and dear to me. When I was the public safety chairman, we passed the reentry office, we passed the reentry commission, and we were looking at community-based practices to help inmates, and especially when they get released, because not enough support is going to them when they're being released. And the final issue is law enforcement reform. I've been pushing for the last 5 or 6 years to have statewide standards for police officers at the county and state level. We finally passed the bill this year, and that's an area I also want to keep working on in the next administration to make certain that legislation gets implemented and followed through. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Spiro. You sound very passionate about law enforcement and jails. So take a minute and tell us how that particular platform might relate here to Hawaii Island.
Well, when we're talking about people who have been incarcerated, It could be any one of our friends, neighbors, family members, and we need to give them services so they don't continue that revolving door. Because if they do, we may be their next victims. And we're paying for these individuals who are incarcerated. We have 2,000 inmates approximately on the mainland today. $30 to $40 million of our dollars are being exported to the mainland because we don't have enough room here. This is a very expensive proposition dealing with inmates. We need to do it in an efficient way while at the same time making certain that that recidivism rate at 50% goes down. 50% is too high. We need to push that down. We need to help these individuals with their broken lives and become productive members of society, because at one point in time, we're all touched by someone within the prison system one way or the other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Escaro. Senator Green, if you are elected Lieutenant Governor, tell us what you will propose to the governor be your major responsibility in addition to your constitutional duties. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, everyone. First of all, let me say thank you all for honoring me with the ability to serve in the House and Senate for these last 14 years. It's because of you I've had incredible experience to be able to help people. As you know, I came to Hawaii to be a physician. I've spent my whole adult life taking care of people in our community. And it's through that lens that I've seen the greatest challenges we face in our state. We have great challenges with drug addiction. This is one area I'd like to help either of the candidates who prevails, either Congresswoman Hanabusa or Governor Ige, if it's a Democrat that wins. I know that the impact of drug addiction on our families is something we have to address, and as a physician, having seen our families struggle with this, I think I'm uniquely positioned to make a difference in that area. And then there's chronic homelessness. As Human Services Chair, I've seen it through that lens as well. The reason this is such an enormous challenge is many people are suffering, many families are suffering, and a very small percentage of our people, about 12,000 people in our state, are consuming about 61% of our Medicaid budget, which is $1.2 billion, and we're not helping them. These are taxpayer dollars that we have to better utilize to make all the other things possible. So by taking up the chronic homeless challenge, I've begun to start a homeless institute, and to serve the governor in that capacity, I can find resources that we can reinvest in housing. We can reinvest in early education. We can reinvest in creating a better healthcare system, which you know I'm passionate about having a universal healthcare program for the state of Hawaii, as I've been functioning in the state Senate. It is one of the areas where all other problems can be dealt with if we deal with it professionally. And I'm hopeful that the Lieutenant Governor will become a very powerful position underneath a strong governor, because to use that position to our benefit, with a person in the trenches, which is what I do, I will leave you and go to the ER to work in our community for 48 hours after this debate. To use a person in the trenches to solve our problems should be a unique way to use the Lieutenant Governor position. So I'd be honored to fight homelessness and drug addiction in our state.
Thank you. Senator Green, take 1 more minute and give us a little more detail. You talk about homelessness and the funding, and we need to know, 1 minute only though, tell us how that's going to work, because clearly on this island we've not solved our homeless problem.
Yes, so in the course of my work as chair of the committee and then as a doctor, I was able to uncover the fact that because of the large incidence of addiction and mental illness in those who are homeless, 20%, 18 to 20% of our homeless or chronically homeless are consuming all of these resources. They don't get better if you simply move them from place to place in the state. If you put a roof over someone's head, our study showed that the cost dropped 43 to 73%. So to start an institute, to actually use Housing First dollars, a significant percentage of our Medicaid budget into that area, we suddenly solve the problem and create incredible savings. It's something that I've already begun to do. I started a free clinic in Chinatown, for instance. We're saving $105,000 a week of taxpayer dollars already with almost no overhead. So I'm able to translate the experiences I have as a doc here on our island into large successes for our state. And I hope that that's the kind of thing people want in their Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you very much. Kim Koko Iwamoto, if you are elected Lieutenant Governor, give us a sense as to what you would like your key platform to be. I'll use the term platform. What do you want the governor to let you do?
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Sherry, for the question, and thank you, Soleil Island, for inviting and your hospitality. And also, I want to offer my deepest sympathies to those who have lost their homes or who have friends and families who have lost their homes. I can imagine how devastating that must be right now. Thank you for being here. Also, I want to let people, I see a lot of people fanning themselves. I have a whole bunch of fans at my station over there. You're welcome. They're not like this one, but they'll cool you down a little bit. I just want to clarify something, Sherry. You mentioned that the Lieutenant Governor would have to ask permission of the Governor to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm an attorney, and I've actually read the Constitution and our state statutes. There's nothing prescribed or limiting the Lieutenant Governor in what they can do and what kind of permission they need from the Governor to do that action. One of the reasons why I'm running for Lieutenant Governor is because that position has been underutilized, because the people who've held that position have often seen it solely as, they're being an understudy to take over perhaps for a higher office. I see it as a wasted opportunity to really open it up to the people and make it the people's office, where those of us who've been working on the front lines of our state's most pressing issues, we can go there and build our coalitions and coalesce our power and reclaim our democracy. One of the issues we need to work on collectively is education. As mentioned earlier, I've served for 5 years on the Board of Education. I served on the Hawaii State Teachers Standards Board. I served as chair of the Career and Technical Education for the University of Hawaii. I have 10,000 hours of work in public education. I'd like to continue that advocacy. I think that that's really important, and we've been underfunding education in Hawaii for such a long time.
Thank you. Kim Koko Iwamoto, take 1 more minute. You obviously feel that education is one of the things you really want to focus on. Just in 1 minute, give us a sense as to what you might want to do that would affect us here on Hawaii Island, because one of the things that we suffer from is being far away from headquarters in all aspects. So give us a better sense. 1 minute, please.
Well, I think what we've seen with weighted student formula and this idea of giving money to schools and letting them decide what to focus on, part of that has been a little bit of a red herring. Because the real problem, the real struggle, is that we just aren't offering sufficient resources to schools to let them offer the programs needed to have an excellent education system. So, the bottom line is this: we need to make sure there's more money going into the schools so we can pay our teachers, so we have the highest qualified teacher pool and teachers teaching our students. We are investing in our future. That would be the most important thing, is fully funding education. When I was writing for Civil Beat, I uncovered that the Department of Education had $3.8 billion in repair and maintenance backlog. And this is a beautiful school, but there are many schools across the island that need to be reconditioned.
Thank you very much. I'm sure Kealakekee High School would like to get more money for repair and maintenance, even though it is beautiful. Thank you. Jeremy Lowe. Now, Jeremy Lowe is a Republican candidate, and remember, when you pull a ballot in the primary election, you will have to determine which party for which you want to vote. So once you decide that you want to vote for example, Mr. Lowe, that means you're going to be pulling a Republican ballot. Mr. Lowe, 2 minutes. Give us a sense as to what you want to try to accomplish as Lieutenant Governor if the Republican governor is elected and you are elected.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Jeremy Lowe, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor in the Republican primary on August 11th. I am a real conservative, and I'm a real Republican. The office of Lieutenant Governor has been underutilized for years. As Lieutenant Governor, I will be a very proactive advocate for good public policies. I also see the Lieutenant Governor becoming an unofficial Inspector General, which would be very different than the State Auditor. The Lieutenant Governor is part of the executive branch. The State Auditor is part of the legislative branch. The Lieutenant Governor is elected by the people. The State Auditor is selected by the majority of the legislature. The State Auditor just writes reports and can't fine or sue anyone. The Lieutenant Governor could actually root out waste and fraud in the state government bureaucracy. As a Hawaii State constitutional officer, the Lieutenant Governor has the duty and authority to do much more than past Lieutenant Governors have done. It's a matter of backbone and political will, and not just waiting around as a political understudy. I am running for Lieutenant Governor to improve our economy and create new private sector jobs by implementing good and sensible public policies. I support tax cuts, and I oppose tax increases. Businesses will invest, expand, and create more jobs when their tax burden is low. I strongly support the Second Amendment, and I'm a life member of the NRA. My campaign slogan is Make Hawaii Great Again. To find more information about me and my stand on issues, please go to my website, votejeremylow.com, and my Facebook page, Jeremy Low for Lieutenant Governor. Please vote for me, Jeremy Low, in the Republican primary on August 11th. Thank you and mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Let me just ask a question. You spoke about the Inspector General aspect of Lieutenant Governor, that you could do something, and it sounds a little bit like you have an idea. What area would you look at first to ensure efficiency and appropriate spending of money? 1 minute, please.
Okay, keep in mind the Lieutenant Governor is the constitutional officer, right? You have your governor, you have the Lieutenant Governor, you have your cabinet, the directors of the department, right? The governor cannot fire the Lieutenant Governor. Clearly, you want to get along and you want to coordinate, and you will have similar beliefs because, in Hawaii, after the primary, you run as a ticket. So you're either 2 Democrats or 2 Republicans. But, you've looked at past history. A lot of lieutenant governors and governors have not gotten along. A lot of that is they had different agendas. It was also, they had personality clashes. But I believe the lieutenant governor can do a lot. For instance, I would lobby at the legislature every day for issues I consider important. And I wouldn't need the governor's permission to do that. Clearly, you would want to coordinate. But, the lieutenant governor, we got to keep in mind, really can be a very independent office if the lieutenant governor has the political will and backbone. And thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to now ask Ms. Iwamoto first. Take 1 minute. Tell us how your experience will make you the best candidate on the Democratic ticket for Lieutenant Governor. 1 minute, please.
Thank you. So I entered public service after I had an experience. I was working in New York City. I had dreamed about being a fashion designer or in fashion in New York City, like growing up all my life. So after I graduated from high school, I went to New York. I studied at the Fashion Institute of Technology. I was working in the job of my dreams, and suddenly my boss called me into her office, and she said, I got a funny call last night at home from one of our largest corporate clients, and they said that they weren't comfortable working with you because you're trans. And this is in the early 1990s, and there were no protections for people like me to work with dignity and to earn a living to, support myself and my family. So I entered law to fight back, to change the law for the people so that we can make a difference in how our government treats us and allows us to participate in our society.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Iwamoto. Mr. Lowe, I should have started with you because you're the Republican. I'm trying to keep the Democrats together. But I'm going to ask you now, on the Republican ticket, take 1 minute and tell us why, out of all the Lieutenant Governor candidates, you would be the best, based on your experience. Tell us what your experience is, and you're going to take 1 minute to do that, please.
Okay. I've worked in all three branches of state government, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. I've also worked at the University of Hawaii and in private nonprofits, including Kamehameha School. So I'm very familiar with bureaucracies. I know how there's a lot of waste and fraud. Basically, if you vote Republican, you're voting for a serious change. From day one, you swear in a new administration. It's like new sheriff is in town, new policies. And I guarantee you, we will save tens of millions of dollars instantly. It's because there's so much waste and fraud. We look at the rail on Oahu as a prime example. It's $5 billion over budget, and it's going to be even more. It's going to bankrupt the state. But unfortunately, a lot of powers that be, they don't believe that, and they don't want you to believe that. It's really about, we have to be fiscally responsible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Senator Espero, in 1 minute, tell us how your experience will make you the best candidate on the Democratic ticket for Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you. So we're here for a job interview, Lieutenant Governor of Hawaii. I have 27 years in state and county government, 8 years with the administration of Frank Fossey, 19 years in the legislature. Leadership, I was Senate Vice President at one time and Senate Majority Floor Leader. And I have a record of accomplishments. I've had over 99 bills introduced and passed. That's the type of individual we want in government. Someone who has leadership, experience, and who gets results. Because there's too much at stake, folks. Hawaii has become a state of haves and have-nots. And we need to take care of our kupuna, the working people, our keiki, if they're going to have a future in our state where they could live comfortably, have a good life, afford a home. You need someone who has that experience. That's what I bring to the job. And I will work for you. I will engage with you. I will be involved with you so that we can change Hawaii and we can change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Espero. Senator Green, tell us why your experience makes you the best candidate. 1 minute only, please.
Thank you. So before I ran for office in the ER, I saw 2 children that suffered greatly. One passed trauma related to drug abuse of the parents. When I got to the legislature, I made a point of passing an increase in the tobacco tax so we could create a trauma system so children lived. I treated some of our kids here that didn't have insurance, weren't able to pay for their asthma medications who were suffering, and the moms and dads had to decide between food and rent or taking their kids to the ER and getting care. I immediately made sure we fought for and passed a bill that every child could get health care coverage. A woman was sexually assaulted in this Kailua area, came to our ER, and I treated her for about 36 hours because she was unsafe. I found out later that some of our hospitals didn't have to treat people who had been sexually assaulted. I passed a bill to make sure that would happen. So I'm able to take real experience that we have in our communities, translate it into real change, and it's always meant to help people's lives improve. So that's what the commitment you get from me as both a doctor and a senator, and hopefully your lieutenant governor.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Green. Mayor Carvalho, tell us why your experience, 1 minute, will make you the best candidate for lieutenant governor on the Democratic ticket.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I'm the only candidate here for lieutenant governor with public service, executive leadership experience. I know how to develop policy. I know how to implement policy. I know how to create opportunities for communities. I manage different departments and agencies, public works, parks and recreation, elderly affairs, housing, transportation, fire and police, all of them. And we meet every single day. I need to be at the forefront as a leader, as a mayor. I understand what it takes to reach out into community, to assemble our team, to address the immediate needs of our people, to understand the needs and understanding of how to manage and facilitate. It takes time and effort, and I bring to the table that experience. My gift is bringing people together from the federal level, the state level, the county level, the community level, the people level, all levels. I understand it. I've done it. I know what to do. I'm excited, and I'm going to be the next lieutenant governor.
Thank you, Mayor Carvalho. Okay, now, that may have sounded like closing statements, but it wasn't. Now, each of our candidates will get 2 minutes to say whatever they would like to say before we say aloha to them. And I'd like to start with you, Republican candidate, Mr. Jeremy Lowe. 2 minutes, your closing statement. What do you want us to know before we say aloha today?
Thank you all for coming tonight. Basically, you got to ask yourself one fundamental question. Do you think things are okay? Do you approve of the status quo? If you do, vote for the same old people. But if you want real change, you have to vote differently, because they're the only people who are going to make real change, and that means vote Republican. You know, if you're a good liberal Democrat and you vote for a different Democrat, oh, he's a different personality, she's got a nicer smile, whatever. You know, but fundamentally, they're the same. They have the same basic thinking. If you want real change, vote for Republicans, and if you have a hard time, you know, vote for someone who's not a Democrat, you know, because that's the only way you're going to get real change. You know, I talk about the rail, I talk about the waste in the state bureaucracy, and, you know, literally, there is so much waste and fraud that goes on. So that's one of my main reasons for running. Think about it this way. If you want to stop the waste and fraud, not only do you have to vote for change in a serious manner, you have to consider why the waste and fraud exists in the first place. You know, because certain special interests are, you know, they got their hand out. And it's understandable when you have one party system, right? Or even the concept of labor and management. You know, management doesn't exist in state government because labor controls everything. And, you know, I don't have a problem with unions so long as they're not corrupt. They represent different interests. And so the whole concept of government, you know, labor and management, business and labor, all of these things matter. You have to have balance. And we sort of look at Hawaii and we all know things are out of whack here. So if you want to improve Hawaii, you got to vote differently. So please vote for me, Jeremy Lowe, in the Republican primary on August 11th. Thank you very much. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Mayor Carvalho, 2 minutes, closing statement.
Again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I've been mayor for the past 10 years on Kauai. I've served as a civil servant for 17 years. I served a department head for 6 years. And so I understand the really internal operations of county government. And I'm ready to step to the state level. I can bring my experience to pull people together, pull resources together, work with all the different departments, bring a different vision, a different type of understanding of what it takes to get things done for the people that we serve. I am a candidate who has proven leadership, ability under fire to make tough decisions, who stands ready to serve you. I've proven that in so many different ways, and I just feel that at this point in my life, my family's life, I want to serve, and I want to serve as your lieutenant governor. I've had the experience, like I said, and if elected, not when elected, I plan to be the bridge, I plan to be the voice, and I plan to be the action. And that's action with aloha. Aloha is a big word, everybody. We need to understand that. And sometimes we miss the emotional side of everything that we need to do to serve the people, internally, externally. And I've proven in so many different ways through my style of leadership and understanding of government and assuring that we can really reach out from our keiki to okupuna through educational opportunities, through transportation, reaching out for resources and grants, and all of it takes time and effort, but it takes a leader who can pull the right people together and reach out to all branches of government and bring home what is right for the people of Hawaii. And that is what I stand for, and I look forward to being your lieutenant governor, and with all the experience that I had, will surely have the opportunity to serve all of you. Mahalo for the opportunity. Aloha.
Thank you, Mayor. And now, Senator Espero, tell us why what would you like to say in your closing 2 minutes?
Thank you. Thank you for listening and being here. Thank you for those in television land. A footnote, of all of us here, I'm the oldest. So, as baby boomers, it's our time. We need to leave a legacy for our Hawaii and for future generations. I have 27 years in government, and these are important years because I have formed relationships. I know how to pass laws. I'm a good listener. I know how to collaborate and pass what's in the best interest of our state. An example is a bill that I was a key player on banning oxybenzone in sunscreen, which harms our reefs. And this is a measure that got international news, one I was at the forefront on. And this year we passed ohana zones and safe zones, something I've been pushing for many years. Because we've been pushing the homeless around from park to park, community to community. We need to put a place for them to stay, where they can get help, they can get back on their feet. You want someone who can get the job, who will be your champion, your advocate, the person that will fight for the working people of Hawaii. That's Will Espero. I pledge to you that we will turn things around, especially in housing. I have a plan to end homelessness in housing. It's going to take about 10 years because we do a lot of building. But we began this year with the $600 million appropriation. And that type of appropriation has to continue every other year at least if we're going to take care of this problem. And I want my son, who's a captain in the Marine Corps right now, to be able to come home one day and live versus deciding to stay where it's cheaper, where he doesn't have to struggle so hard and live paycheck to paycheck. So with your help, I said, let's change Hawaii.
Thank you, Senator Espero. We appreciate it. Kim Koko Iwamoto, 2 minutes, closing statement.
Thank you. My name is Kim Koko Iwamoto, and I'm a Democratic Socialist running for Lieutenant Governor. Our status quo politicians have created a tale of two Hawaiis. On one hand, we see more and more luxury condos and luxury estates being built and sold to the world's wealthiest 1%. Meanwhile, we look around us and we see more and more local families sleeping on our sidewalks and in our parks. Nationally, we have the highest rates of homelessness. We have the highest rates of families living paycheck to paycheck. And given our exorbitant cost of living, we, Hawaii residents, carry the highest average personal credit card debt in the nation. So it's no wonder that most people in Hawaii are one crisis one illness, one car accident away from slipping into homelessness. And while our social safety nets remain torn and tattered, and while we continue to underfund our public education, our state charges corporations the lowest tax rate in the nation. And we continue to give real estate investors tax credits and tax breaks even though they don't even live in our state. Our moral decency requires us to continue fighting for housing the homeless, fighting to invest in better public schools, not bigger prisons. And we must prioritize preserving our natural resources and prioritize them over the profits of corporations. In Hawaii, corporations spend millions of dollars elevating their influence at the state capitol. I want to make sure that the people's voice is heard.
Thank you, Ms. Iwamoto. Senator Dr. Green, 2 minutes, closing statement.
Thank you, Sherry, and thank you, family and friends, for being here tonight. We've been together for 14 years. You've put your trust in me, and I ask you to put your trust in me one more time. 14 years ago, we needed a community health center in our community. We built that together. I see Richard here tonight. We take care of tens of thousands of people because of that initiative, because we did it together. We needed a courthouse in this community that had been neglected. We got the funding, we built that together. It's from our common experience. I'm a person of action. I'm not a politician full-time. I've been a doctor and a leader for you. I spend every week coming back and forth to the Capitol and back to our community to actually care for people. I think it's about time we have someone with real perspective and real life experience that can help. I'm able to take these experiences with you, with your children, with our kapuna, and translate them into actual action. The people on the stage are excellent candidates, and I commend all of them. They're all worthy of serving in office. But we need someone to bring a different take, a new type of leadership to the table. We have to actually achieve things for our people. I know what the impact of drug addiction is because I see the prescriptions go into people's hands and the addiction not get treated because we don't have adequate care for people. I know we have to solve that problem. I know firsthand. I take care of the homeless. I see them on the street, so I started shelters and homeless service centers to actually make a difference in their lives. I'm able to translate actual experience into action and change for our state in Hawaii. I'll do that on education, environment, health, and human services. I've been doing it for years because of you. You sent me to the Capitol. You gave me the greatest blessing. I met my wife over on Oahu. We have 2 beautiful children. It makes me more passionate about serving than ever. So I'd be honored to be your Lieutenant Governor next. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for having me in office for 14 years. And please, I'd be humbled by your support one more time.
Thank you, Senator Green. I'd like to ask you to join me in thanking these candidates for being here.